it penetrates straight through the need to think that it has to be dominant because it's including everything else as it goes. You know, it's just this constant movement of transcend and include, include and transcend. You know, like it's perfect. Yeah.
Wow, no, lovely, bro. Ken. And he's still alive, eh? Yeah, he's still rocking. He's written it forward on just about every fucking main book that comes out, you know. They're always like forward by Ken.
Like just the Einstein of our generation, but just like it's so interesting. Like it's really his like what is put out is just like for me it's mind blowing.
Yeah,
and it's like one of the only things which has really like nailed home to me. Basically, this understanding, like I said the other day, of this like conveyor belt that we're on, and everyone's just on different stages of this like conveyor belt, you know. And it's like that helps you to accept other people's position. You find the perspective to be like, oh right, well that's just how he sees because he's not free of those structures, you know, like. But actually, even having an inherent sense of those structures helps you move into another higher structure because you're taking more perspectives.
Absolutely, absolutely. Natural, you know, it's like, it's just, you know, like a cat's on that. Yeah, I mean, it's just like a pigeon suddenly, you know, having more perspective than a pigeon. Because it's you know, including all points of view in that sense as well, you know, and then because you can include those points of view in your own points of view, then as such the compassion arises for all states.
Your points of view are made out of those points.
Yeah.
They're nestled in those other points of view.
Yeah.
Boom, Interstellar, bro. Epic. I loved it.
Interstellar.
It was one of those classic ones. I didn't like hear about it until this summer, and I was like,
yeah.
Like, how did this how was it? First of all, just not on the circuit of what other people had on their hard drives or were watching or talking.
Yeah, it seems to have gone. Yeah, I mean, I'd heard about it in a couple that, you know, and then there was that, you know, that other one which with the Sandra Bullock, George Clooney.
Grav I T.
Which was great for its visual aspect, but I just thought that they so fucked it up by bringing in like the George Clooney character of like, you know, she's going through something and he starts bringing up, well, imagine you're having barbecues, you know, with the American, like, and he's like the Mr. Nice guy who's kind of evolved guru space astronaut, but so pulling in those thought forms of the whole
gross world.
Oh yeah, like so totally. But then with this like cheerful, you know, everything's cool, I'm not scared, dude. And I was like, they just fucked it up and made it into just a normal paste. And then in that sense, you know, it never actually offered any in depth into really what, you know, people would be asking themselves if they were going through what they were going through, you know, and like. Whereas this one, they included, you know, the whole human emotion spectrum. I mean, that intensity of watching your son 23 years on, and he's been away 5 days, and the daughter connection, the ultimate, the way she loved him, the way,
and then
like,
that
your
flip
dad.
of time at the end. The daughter's now older than him. It's like,
yeah, and he's looking at her, and it's like unbelievable. And then he's still like, well, I'm here now, and he's like, yeah, but.
I mean, it's like the whole like Zen expression of like show me your original face, the face you had before your mother was born. You know, it's just dropped in for me watching that. I was just like, wow, like, you know, it's just this the eternal timeless space where it's just time is a construct that we've built just to slow things down so we can process it. You know, the hologram.
Exactly. According to where you are on the conveyor belt as such, because it's the same like in if you know, Inception, I actually really only really got it or enjoyed it also the most by about the third time. And the actual sequence where they're timing all the subconscious realms of the dream, and it's like 7 seconds, and the car's falling, and then they really showed that well. Where, you know, and same in Interstellar, it just really showed. And then we're watching the slow motion of the monkeys and like then the cricket thing, and realizing this holographic in all senses, and it's totally keyed in to the sliding door thing of different frequential timing.
Totally.
And where you are perceiving according to how fast you're traveling through time and space,
Yeah.
you know, literally you're vibrating through
and
time and space.
your own
you know.
capacity to essentially, you know, we know when we drop into the witnessing or observing state, then that processing time dissolves, you know, and that everything has this equal balance or weight. You're equanimous in your view, you know. So actually, you don't have to. In that point, you're not processing information in relation to your experiences or eye space. It's just drifting. It's just all arising and drifting past, arising and drifting past.
Yeah, almost as new memory instantaneously rather than from your archive, your catalogues of your experience as the eye in its memory folds, you know.
But even in doing that, it's giving you this taste of like basically frequential experience, because it's like we're so bogged down and slowed down in the gross realm processing that kind of information, you know, like days of trying to like configure what's going on with people, you know, and then you're like, and then like, you know, the opposite, the state where it's just like, where you're not chewing or processing, then it's just like, it's gone already and you're free to do anything else, you know?
Yeah, you're hardly noticing anything because you're noticing nothing, just carrying on.
Just another nothing, yeah.
Yeah, well, and then suddenly so much space for RAM, so much space for processing, and more speed available to you because you're not again in a backlog of, you know. And this is, you know, Lotwe Lujan really introduces that concept really strong in terms of, you know, real time. Like, and he goes into that whole thing of like, and you know, and by the end of it, you don't really even know what he's talking about, that term, real time, you know, and like Castaneda was very abstract and kind of, you know, didn't even use that term, but then more and more so, and that's when, you know, this noticing of the connection between real-time sync with the nervous system, which is a current system, not operating on social dogma or your eye story or your memory, it's operating on the recording of the constant environment and constant input, which is then moving through because the nervous system is not holding it like a memory.
Yeah.
It's just integrating and re-educating.
Yeah.
And going on because there's always constant more information to
and within that, if anything new is arising, then it's just this realization, it's satori, it's spontaneous spontaneous illumination or realization of like the impact of that more space, you know, how your operating system can be different, you know, not locked into the somethings and reacting to them, you know.
And then even within those, you know, from the catharsis to the epiphanies to the satori's, then they keep on falling into the new nothings because they become nothing too in terms of like a wider expanse.
That's the Suzuki book I gave you last
of
night.
Nothing,
so it's got a great chapter on like nothing special, you know. It's just kind of, like, I love it.
Well, that was your Japanese babe as well.
Yeah, you know, she was so like she gave me the same message, which is just so good. Like I loved it.
It was perfect.
It was like, I don't know, it was
because you can't help feeling that excitement or emotion in the Vipassana. You're so sensitive to.
You know, I was so glad I went and saw her, just because on a certain level.
Yeah,
you know,
you might have been.
I played out rather than chewing the rest of the Vipassana on the excitement or chasing for that. She's just like, nothing special. Come on, your breath. I'm just like, and I just
special.
I remember that lunchtime. I was just like, you know, I'm wandering around in the snowy garden, just like, you know, like, I was laughing almost. I was just to myself. It's just like amazing. Do you know what I mean? I just had the most profound experience that I've had, and plugged myself into like the causal void of space, you know, and had the recognition of the other times that I've been in it, you know, and just gone, that's what it is. I just hadn't recognized it.
Yes.
And then just, but nothing special.
Yeah,
bro.
bread and butter,
Nothing
bro.
special.
You want a bread and butter or
You know, like
tea? You know, nothing special.
Because you're not going to get that if you're just going to chase it again in your mind.
Yeah. 1 o'clock we start again.
Yeah. It's just nothing special.